Greetings, it's me again, Maria of Transparent Property Solutions at Transparent Solutions Inc. Thank you for returning for part 2 of investing. Before we spoke about what, now we're going to talk about why. Here in this chart, you see listed are the expenses and the rate, or APR, or interest. Rate APR would be the annual percentage rate that is charged to the borrower to be paid to the lender. Some of the standard expenses that would be mandatory are home loan, car loan, personal loan, and credit card payments if you should have any of these. Then you can be expected to pay 2.5% or greater for your home loan. 2.5% will be the best possible at this day and age. And that would have to mean that you have excellent credit, you're putting down a certain amount for a down payment, maybe your military status or retired military. All these different stipulations have to be met in hopes that you have a fixed rate for the life of your loan, and that just basically means the time that it takes for you to pay it off, and that's agreed upon between the borrower and the lender. Car loans 8% to 29%, and as you plainly see here, just like the home loan, the better the rate or the less that you pay is determined on the type of credit and history that you actually have. And the higher the rate that is required to be paid back is based on, not so great credit. 5% is the best rate right now that Forbes says exists for personal loans. And then, of course, it just creeps up quite quickly from there. Credit card payments are 8% to 32%. And as you can see, all of these numbers are well above 1%. The reason why I bring this to your attention is because the type of accounts that are offered, they don't offer the max amount possible, even though, well, I'm not going to say that. But the rate of interest or yield, or APY, that annual percentage yield, is basically your return on your investment, right? So we have checking accounts, saving accounts, CDs, money markets, mutual funds, ETFs, trust funds, and other type of accounts that are possible to invest in. With a checking account, the best rate right now is 0.07%. Yes, it gets no better than 0.07%, as if already being under the number 1 wasn't enough. And then there's 0.15% on a savings account. And you know what? I know that a lot of people don't know that certain checking accounts actually can receive or yield you certain any money, but it's very few and far between. All financial institutions do not offer checking accounts that offer interest, and some of the ones that do, they come with special stipulations, like either you have to be a proven student, or you have to have 0 loans outstanding, or you have to make a certain amount, or you have to pay certain fees and maintenance fees and keep a certain amount in the account. So with all the stipulations that they require, it may not be worth it for that little 0.07%, but it's better than nothing. So do what you got to do, just weigh your risk. And like the savings account, 0.15% is the best rate right now. I actually saw 0.498 a few months ago, but I can't recall where. And so maybe it was actually a CD, but they had it listed under savings accounts. A CD is a certificate of deposit, and right now Forbes says the 0.51% is the best rate. And I was able to find a particular financial institution that actually speaks to the numbers around 0.51, right? So certificate of deposit is a short-term investment, right? These financial institutions consider short-term anywhere from 6 months, well, some people say 3, anywhere from 3 months to 60 months, and which is 5 years. And in that time frame, they are using whatever money you provide to them to do whatever it is that they do to try to gain more interest somehow. And what they pay you for allowing them to do this is 0.35% on a 6 month. Whatever you can get in 6 months, whatever you can scramble up to put in, you receive 0.35% back in 6 months. Or a 12-month would be 0.64%, so forth and so on, all the way to 5 years, in which finally gives you a 1.14% interest. So money market, 0.60%, not too far off from the CD, but that's what Forbes says. And I did find a particular financial institution that gave a chart, and in this chart, the tier rate would be the amount of money that you have to place in the account in order to receive the percentage rate that they're offering. So the very top numbers are $1,000 to almost $10,000, right? A little less than $10,000. And I don't know a lot of people who are just sitting around with that in the bank or in the mattress or in the freezer. But you have to have that much money in order to get 0.17%. Not even 1%, 0.17%. And then so forth and so on. Up to 25,000, and then 50,000, and then 100,000. And 100,000 and above gets 0.38%. So apparently, this is not one of the financial institutions that offer 0.60%, like Forbes says is the best number. Mutual funds, they vary. A mutual fund is basically where a financial expert looks at a few different companies and says, hey, I want to take this medical company and this armor company and this manufacturing company and maybe 2 other companies that don't have anything to do with each other. I'm going to put these all together, and we're just going to pray and wish and hope that it actually does well. So they basically create their own mini portfolio that, you know, you can just select without having to go in and do your own research, in hopes that it will give you some kind of interest back, or a great interest, ultimately hoping that they actually pay dividends also. ETF is an exchange trade fund. You can get these from several different companies. You can do a little bit of research, go to somebody's blog, or listen to somebody's podcast that you trust has some good information for you, and determine which one you want to be involved in. But 7% is the best dividend that Forbes says is being paid right now for any ETF. Trust funds, they vary, because we know that most trust funds are left for, you know, beneficiaries and family members and children, you know, after a person is deceased, or after a certain age, or when a person actually goes to college. They have all these special stipulations based on whichever type of trust fund they can actually receive. The lender can actually receive, and that would be the person who the investor can actually receive. Others are traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, SEP IRAs, 401ks, and joint ventures, and which would be the most beneficial joint ventures. I added this because I thought it's such an insult to injury, but it's a representative example on one of the financial institutions' accounts and websites. And basically they say that for a $1,000 personal loan over the term of 12 months, 29.82%, $134.72 is what they expect to receive. But the rates range from 6% or 5.99% to 35.99%. So I assume that somebody getting the rate of 29.82% has not so great credit. The stars are not aligned. Maybe they are already over their head in expenses, not getting enough income, and this just adds more insult to injury, because they probably shouldn't qualify, but they do qualify. And maybe this is for someone who's trying to build their credit, who doesn't have any credit. The financial institutions take so much advantage of people, and it's ridiculous. But try to avoid this at all costs, okay? Because we're already paying too much. Amortization. This is another good reason why we should be learning about some investments. Excuse me. So, amortization is basically the payment schedule that we're on for whatever investment or whatever lending agreement we have, right? So over the life of a 30-year loan, if we want to know how much we are left owing at 25 years or at 5 years remaining, then we could just go to an amortization schedule and see just how much we've paid off and how much we still owe. And this number only includes principal and interest. It does not include taxes, does not include insurance, and does not include the PMI or the private mortgage insurance. Those are totally separate numbers that do not count in this schedule. This mortgage calculator that I found online, it actually calculates amortization. So what I did was I typed in the price of a home at the rate of, and I made these numbers up, at the rate of $100,000 because I felt I wanted to use the most simple numbers. I even said I would put down 0 down payment. I would get a better than best rate at 2%, in which we all know is not possible right this moment. And it would be a 30-year fixed rate, right? So what came back when I calculated this is that $369.62 would be the monthly principal and interest. $832.12 would be the monthly payment after taxes and insurance are added. And you would hope that the private mortgage insurance would have already been tacked on because I didn't put down 20%, but it says it's not. So on this chart, it actually shows you what you can expect to pay monthly as a minimum and as a maximum, and over the entire life of the loan. 360 payments, 30 years, you'll pay $63,063. However, we did just say we are getting an interest rate of 2%. So how do we get to $33,000 from a $100,000? That's definitely not 2%. Yes, it's called compound interest. Welcome to the world of compound interest. So by the end of the life of a 30-year loan, you will have paid 25% in interest alone. 25%. That's what $33,000 out of $133,000 is, and the 75% is represented by what's remaining. Okay, the rule of 72. In the rule of 72, this formula that someone created tells you how long it's going to take for your investment to double, depending on the rate that you receive. So if let's keep things simple, not overcomplicating things. If you get a 1% interest rate, right, on an investment account, 72 is going to be your top number and 1 will be your bottom number. Not 1%, but the number 1, removing the percent sign. So 72 divided by 1, 72. It'll take 72 years for that investment to double, as you can see here in this chart at the very top. Now let's look at 2%. If 2% is the rate, you take 72, you divide it by 2, and you get 36. 36 years it'll take for your investment to double. So forth and so on. And then you see 5 years is also highlighted here. 5 years, 72 divided by 5%, 5% will double your cash in 14.4 years, almost 14 and a half years, and so forth and so on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Once again, I'm Maria at Transparent Solutions, Inc. I can be reached by email or New Mexico number 575-201-3177 directly, or Georgia number 404-919-5852. Thank you for listening, watching, paying attention. Feel free to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you at part 3.